Hello everyone and welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to look at how to create new objects in your scene. So first of all, let's delete all these objects that currently in the scene. To do that, just select them all so you can drag a box to select them all. And then on the keyboard, press X and then just click delete. X is basically the shortcut to delete anything inside of Blender. So to create a primitive object, now primitive can be anything from a sphere to a cube to a cone, all of things like that. So to create a primitive object, just press Shift or hold Shift on the keyboard and then press A. And that's gonna bring up the Add menu. So you can see you got different menus. You got mesh, curved surface, meatball, text, volume. So we are going to look at the first one, that is mesh. So let's say I click on cube and that's going to create a cube for me. Let's delete the cube and I'm going to create something else. So Shift A on the keyboard, go to mesh and let's create a cylinder so that you can see we have created a cylinder. I can zoom in closer so we can see it a little bit better. And once you've added a primitive object, you will see a little menu that pops up here in the bottom corner. Now if I click to expand this will give me all of the information or the parameters for this object. So as you can see, we got the vertices 32 and I can click and drag to make adjustments to the amount of the vertices. The object could be sharper or smoother. You can also adjust the radius by clicking and drag the amount. So another thing that you can do is you can hold Shift while dragging these numbers and this will just move a little bit slower, so giving you a bit more accurate or more control to change some of these parameters. Next we have the depth. I can change the depth, which is basically the height of the cylinder. So just note that you have this side menu. Once you are happy with these parameters, you can just simply click in the 3D viewport and it's going to save the settings. Now you can't go back and change them, so be sure that you have created or set those parameters correctly. So I'm going to delete this one. So let's create a new primitive object. So press Shift A, mesh, and next let's do a UV sphere. Now this is a sphere object. And you also see this menu pop up. So you will get similar parameters. So I can increase or decrease the amount of segments, rings, or radius. Just remember, if you hold and shift, it will give you a bit of a slower and more accurate control. Okay, let's delete this one and create a new primitive object. So let's click on plane and see how that works. The plane is basically just a flat face like this. And I can increase the size here on this add plane menu. I can also type a value or you just can scale it up. So just know that you can set these parameters here and then once you have clicked, that's going to be a safe setting. So let's delete this one. You also can add lights. So if we go down on this add menu, go to light. You can choose between a point light, a sunspot light, and an area light. So let's create a point light. And you can see we have created a light in the center of our scene. We also can create a spotlight. So now you can see we have created a spotlight. Let's delete this. We can also create an area light. An area light, which is basically like a plane with a light on the one side. Now let's create a camera. So if you press Shift A and go down to click the camera, and that's going to create a camera for us so that we can use this camera in our scene. Because every time you render something in Blender, you will need a camera in your scene, so the camera can actually render the scene. So for rendering, you need your objects, then you need your lights and also a camera to kind of see what you are filming. You can also create some force fields, but we are not going to go into that for now because that's a bit more advanced for now. You can also create some text. There you can see we have created some text. So you can also change the parameter in this pop-up menu. One thing to keep in mind is you'll see that there's a little crosshair right here in the center of the world, which is a little circle and a crosshair. Now that's the 3D cursor. We are gonna look at the 3D cursor in a later lesson. For now, all you need to know is any new object you create will be created on this 3D cursor. You can actually move the 3D cursor around. You can place it maybe there at the back. And then if you create a cube, that cube will be created wherever that 3D cursor is. But don't worry too much about the 3D cursor because there is a lesson that's dedicated to the 3D cursor later on this course. I just want to repeat that the new objects will be created wherever that 3D cursor is. Now let's create a monkey. So this is the Blender monkey and its name is Suzanne. You can also set the size here on this little menu that pop up, and it's just a little nice little test object kind of thing that you can create and play around. So that's basically how easy to adding objects into the scene. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.